Did you know that thousands of seniors are dying sleeping because of a seemingly harmless habit that many practice indoors every day, without even imagining the hidden danger? That's right. Routine behavior, common in men over 50, has been quietly responsible for tragic night deaths that could be avoided with simple attitude changes. You or someone in your family may be at risk right now, and you don't even know that. Each night, many men go to sleep believing that they will only have another quiet night of rest. But what few realize is that the body gives signs of alert before the tragedy happens. Signs directly linked to prostate problems, urinary retention, kidney pressure, and even organ failure during sleep. That's exactly why today I need to ask you this question. Are you ignoring the signs your body is screaming? If you are a man and are over 50, or live with someone in this age group, this video can literally be a chance to save a life. What you will discover today is not just medical curiosity. It is vital information that can change your destination and the one you love. We are talking about a fatal error made by millions of people every day without realizing it. A mistake that transforms sleep, which should be a moment of recovery, into a silent trap for death. And why is this happening so often? Because most people simply ignore symptoms, believe in myths, or are ashamed to seek help. It is the famous "then I see this" that unfortunately often ends in an irreversible outcome. And the scariest? This habit is directly linked to prostate problems, such as benign prostatic hyperplasia, HPB, which affects the ability to urinate properly, causing toxins accumulation, silent infections, and even collapses during sleep. Men who feel like urinating at night but avoid lifting for laziness, fear of falling, or simply because it is normal, are exposing themselves to a deadly risk. This accumulated urine can cause kidney overload, increase internal pressure on the body, and create a perfect environment for the emergence of dangerous bacteria and inflammation. All this while the person is sleeping, with no chance of realizing what is happening to their own body. Have you ever felt you needed to go to the bathroom at dawn but decided to hold until dawn? Or do you know someone who lives complaining that he wakes up several times to urinate but never sought to know why? For know that these small habits hide a time bomb about to explode. Worse, when symptoms become evident, it is often too late. Therefore, pay close attention to every second of this video. What we will reveal below may be the only thing that is missing for you to take action before it's late. If you have gotten here, it is because deep down you care about your health or someone close to someone, and this is already a big step. But it's not enough just to watch. You need to understand what is behind these night deaths and how to avoid them. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you now in the next few minutes. So, before we continue, I want to make you an important invitation. Comment down here. Have you or someone in your family have had urinary problems at dawn? Already woke up with that full bladder sensation, pain, or simply realized that something in your body wasn't right? His comment may seem simple, but he has enormous power. He helps other people to identify himself, creates a support community, and shows that no one is alone in this silent battle against the dangers that threaten the health of mature man. And if this content is making sense to you so far, leave your like. This shows to YouTube that this video is important and needs to be delivered to more people who, like you, want to protect your health or help someone dear to live longer and better. It is subscribed to the channel too, because here I always bring serious information based on science, with simple, direct language, and focused exclusively on man's health over 50. What you learn here can prevent disease, avoid unnecessary suffering, and even save lives. So already leave the like, subscribe, activates the bell, and especially, stay with me until the end, because now we will dive into what is really behind these silent deaths during sleep, and most importantly, how you can prevent this from happening to you or someone you love. It's frightening to think that something as simple as avoiding going to the bathroom at dawn can trigger a domino effect on the body, capable of having such serious and quiet consequences. But this is the reality that many men are backing, especially those suffering from HPB, benign prostatic hyperplasia. This name may seem complicated, but the impact this condition has is much more common than you think. We are talking about an increase in prostate size, something natural with aging, but when ignored, it goes from discomfort to real risk of death. The prostate, which should have the approximate size of a nut, begins to grow disorderly, compressing the urethra and making it difficult to pass the urine. With this, the bladder cannot completely empty. Imagine this happening night after night. The body tries to warn, That desire to urinate at 3 a.m. is not random. It is a sign that something within you is not working as it should. But what many do: ignore, hold. They prefer the comfort of not getting out of bed, especially on cold nights or afraid to stumble in the dark. But this temporary comfort can be expensive. When the bladder cannot eliminate all accumulated urine, the residue that remains there begins to ferment, creating a perfect environment for bacteria proliferation. And that's where the problem gets worse. These bacteria can rise to the kidneys, causing a severe infection called pyelonephritis. Now imagine this happening while you sleep. You go to bed thinking it's okay, but inside your body, a silent infection is spreading. And when symptoms appear hard, it may be too late. Men with increased prostate often believe that the difficulty of urinating, the weak jet, or the feeling that the bladder never completely empties is just an age of age. But this thought is dangerous. The body gives signs. The problem is that many learn to live with the discomfort, until the discomfort turns into pain, then illness, and finally into tragedy. This happens especially during sleep, because it is the moment when the body is at rest. The signs are ignored and the overloaded organs continue to fight quietly to keep you alive. The great villain here is not just the hyperplasia itself, but the deadly habit of ignoring symptoms, of normalizing the abnormal. The human body is intelligent. He warns when something is wrong. Return at night to urinate frequently, have pain when urinating, or having difficulty starting and ending the act are warnings that should light a red alert. But unfortunately, out of shame, misinformation, or neglect, many men just prefer to believe that it will pass alone, and it won't. When this urinary retention gets worse, the accumulated pressure can cause urine reflux to the kidneys, an extremely dangerous process. The kidneys, in turn, are silent organs. They do not shout in pain like an inflamed tooth. They simply stop working. Acute renal failure can quickly settle, especially during sleep when the body is relaxed, but the urinary system is collapsed. And when the person finally wakes up, the damage is already done. Have you ever thought about how many times you ignored that desire to get up to urinate at night? Or how many times have heard a friend or family member say that he is urinating too much but has not sought a doctor because, is it normal with age? Because that's where the danger lives. This resistance behavior, not wanting to disturb, to think it is bullshit to seek help, is what transforms a treatable symptom into an avoidable tragedy. Another point that few people speak but which is crucial is the relationship between chronic urinary retention and the possibility of generalized infections. A urinary tract infection that spreads through the body can cause sepsis, a systemic inflammatory response that leads to the bankruptcy of multiple organs. In the elderly, especially those who already have the most fragile immunity, sepsis can be fulminating. And yes, it can happen during sleep without pain, without warning, with no chance of asking for help. Now think to me, how many men over 60 do you know that they have reported difficulty to urinate, or always complain about waking tired even after sleeping all night? It may not just be the tiredness of age. It may be the body trying to resist an infectious process that is slowly settling. This is why this theme needs to be treated with the seriousness it deserves. It is more than a urinary discomfort. It is a matter of life or death. And as much as it seems like an exaggeration for those who are listening to this for the first time, the reality of hospitals and ready to the RTs confirms. Men arrive every day in serious condition for complications related to increased prostate and urinary retention. And many of these cases could have been avoided with a simple trip to the urologist, using preventive examinations such as PSA, and especially with the change of habits at home. Yes, change the habit of ignoring the signs, holding the urine, minimizing pain, may seem small, but it is transformative. And here comes a point that I always hit the key. Self-knowledge is the first step for prevention. Knowing how your body works, understanding the signs, and acting when something seems unusual. This is not weakness. It is responsibility. Of course, many men were taught to hold on, not to show pain, not to complain. But when it comes to your health, especially the health of the prostate and the urinary system, there is no room for pride, shame, or resistance. It takes courage to change, and change starts inside. It begins by recognizing that getting up at dawn to urinate can be much more than a nuisance. It may be a warning that something serious is forming. What many people don't understand is that the bladder is like a balloon. When you try to force your limit many times, it loses elasticity. This makes even during the day you start urinating less, more often, with pain, or even blood. This should not be ignored. It is your body begging for help. And when this help does not come, the cycle repeats. Inflammation sets in, the infection spreads, and health gradually leaves without making noise. That's exactly why this video exists. Because you deserve to know the truth. Because no one should lose their lives for lack of information. Because sometimes a single attitude, such as getting up from bed to urinate when you feel like it, can make all the difference between waking up the next day or not. It may seem exaggerated to some, but it is not. This is health, this is real life, this is prevention. And since you arrived here with me, I want to make you a request. Write in the comments, "I pay attention to the signs of my body." This simple phrase already shows that you understand the importance of what we are talking about here. And if you know someone who lives saying it's okay, it's normal to wake up 5 times at night to go to the bathroom, share this video with it. You may be saving a life without even knowing. Enjoy also and write here in the comments if you have had similar symptoms or know someone who has gone through it. This helps us spread this message to even more people. I want to read your report. I want to know about your story. Because here we talk about man to man without taboo, no winding, and with the truth you deserve to hear. Imagine lying down your head on the pillow, believing that you will have a quiet night of sleep, and not realize that your body is on maximum alert, struggling to maintain your internal balance as you rest. This may seem exaggeration, but that's exactly what happens to thousands of men every day. And most don't even have any idea. When we talk about prostate problems, many people still associate it with something distant, which only happens to others. But the truth is that in most cases, warning signs are present and ignored because they are considered normal, part of aging. Only they are not. And this is where the danger lives. The first sign, and perhaps the most common, is to wake up several times at night to urinate. At first it happens once, then 2, 3, until it becomes a tiring cycle. The person wakes up, goes to the bathroom, returns to bed, falls asleep, and shortly later is feeling that uncomfortable pressure on the bladder. This is undermining sleep quality, causing constant tiredness, irritability during the day, and more importantly, may indicate that the bladder is not emptying properly, a classic symptom of benign prostatic hyperplasia, or HPB. And what is even more alarming, this symptom is treated by many as something routine, as if inevitable with the advance of age, when it is actually the body shouting for attention. Another sign that deserves your immediate attention is the difficulty of starting the urinary jet. You feel like it, go to the bathroom, but it just can't start urinating easily. Sometimes you need to wait for precious seconds until the flow begins. And when it starts, the jet is weak, interrupted, and often needs to be forced. This symptom is a direct indicative that the increased prostate is compressing the urethra. The channel through which the urine passes is obstructed, and the effort to urinate becomes increasingly necessary. Over time, this repeated effort can cause damage to the bladder muscle, making its function even more difficult. And if you wake up in the morning with that strange feeling that the bladder is still full, even after going to the bathroom, it is not normal either. The constant feeling of incomplete emptying of the bladder is one of the main signs that there is a partial obstruction in the urethra. The problem is that many men think they are urinating normally because at least something goes out. But this something is not enough. Urine retained in the body can become a focus of infection, and as we mentioned earlier, this infection can rise to the kidneys and cause serious consequences. That discomfort on waking up, the urge to urinate again a few minutes after going to the bathroom, are small details that should not be ignored. Perhaps one of the symptoms that most draw attention, and unfortunately many only take seriously when it is already very advanced, is the pain or burning when urinating. When this happens, there is already an inflammation in progress. It can be an infection in the urethra, bladder, or even prostate. Pain when urinating is not just momentary discomfort. It represents that the body is on alert. The inflamed or swollen prostate can press internal structures and cause microfissions, irritations, or even release blood in the urine. In some cases, this burning is accompanied by fever, chills, or pain in the lower back, all signs that the infection may have spread. And which is scarier, many men continue to postpone the doctor, taking analgesics on their own or believing that will pass alone. Another less spoken but extremely revealing symptom is the abdominal swelling upon waking, or that heavy sensation at the bottom of the belly. This accumulation can be caused by fluid retention, either by partial bankruptcy of the kidneys or the accumulation of urine in the bladder. The full bladder presses the other organs and causes discomfort, pain, and a feeling of oven. In more severe cases, it may even affect digestion and cause morning nausea. Many times man thinks he has gases, that is only bad diet, when in fact the problem is in the urinary system, locked and inflamed. All these signs are clear forms of the body to manifest, and all of them, together or isolated, point to something greater, the urgent need to investigate the health of the prostate. This is not just temporary discomfort. We are talking about changes that, when added, indicate a urinary system on the brink of collapse. And as you already know, when the body collapses during sleep, the chances of recovery are minimal. Now imagine sleeping without knowing that your kidneys are failing. This is happening every day with thousands of men. Men who spent the day normally, feeling only a slight discomfort, a discrete burning, or a constant desire to urinate, and who went to bed without knowing that inside the body there was a battle happening, a silent but devastating battle. They fell asleep trusting that they would wake up the next day, and they didn't wake up. And why does this happen? Because the body does not give explosive signs. He doesn't scream, he whispers. And when we don't hear these whispers, they turn into shouts that often arrive too late. That's why I'm here talking to you so directly, so transparent. Because maybe you're feeling just that and you haven't realized the gravity yet. Or maybe know someone who lives complaining about these symptoms but never sought help. Prostate health is not a conversation that should be delayed. And the symptoms are no joke. These are small signs that the body needs attention. And what most worries me, honestly, is to see how common these symptoms are and at the same time trivialized. How many times have you heard someone say that waking up to urinate several times at night is normal? How many times have you heard that weak jet is an age thing? This is not normal. It's your body trying to avoid the worst. And if you don't listen, he stops warning. So if at some point in this video you identified with any of these symptoms, waking up several times at night, difficulty urinating, a full bladder feeling when you wake up, pain or burning when urinating, or morning abdominal swelling, I want you to comment below. It can be simple, such as, I already felt it, or, I never gave importance, but now I will pay attention. These comments help not only you to position themselves, but show others that this subject is serious, that needs to be discussed, and that there is a way out. Right there in the comments, I listen to the signs of my body. Let's use this phrase as a commitment that from today, you will start paying attention to what your body has been trying to tell you all this time. And now that you already recognize the warning signs before a tragedy, we need to talk about something even more serious. The biggest mistake that is killing men in silence during sleep. This error is made every day, sometimes for lack of information, sometimes out of negligence, and in many cases for pride. And it is precisely because it seems small that it becomes so dangerous. I am talking about the habit of ignoring the health of the prostate, treating serious symptoms such as insignificant details, insisting that it is nothing, or to rely exclusively on teas, home remedies, or neighbors, instead of seeking diagnosis and treats professional. Many men make this mistake thinking they are being brave, strong, self-sufficient. But the truth is that this false strength is costing lives, and worse yet, lives that could be preserved with simple attitudes. From a certain age, the body begins to change. The prostate increases naturally, and thereby appear symptoms that should never be ignored. Weak jet, constant desire to urinate, full bladder sensation, pain, discomfort, power loss. All of this is the body warning that something is not well. But instead of looking for a urologist, many prefer to have tea, follow a random tip from the internet, or simply expect a pass. It is at this point that comes what I call a hidden villain of male health, the procrastination disguised as normality. The man feels something strange, but believes he is part of age, or have heard so many times that it is normal to wake up at night to urinate that it has totally ignored. This creates a dangerous cycle. Symptoms increase, the body adapts to discomfort, the routine continues, and the disease evolves without it. And when you realize, it's often too late. The worst part of this mistake is that it is often fed by a second deadly habit. To avoid lifting at dawn to urinate, for fear of disturbing sleep or disturbing the wife. This seems small, almost irrelevant, but think about it. When the body sends the sign that it needs to release the urine, it is trying to avoid a kidney, bladder, and urinary system as a whole. When you ignore this sign and force yourself to sleep again, it is letting the urine accumulate, pressing the organs and creating an ideal environment for the emergence of silent infections. This prolonged urine retention may seem harmless on the outside, but inside it is triggering an inflammatory and infectious process that directly affects your health. Bacteria multiply rapidly when they find this standing, heated, and residue environment. This generates urinary infections that, if not treated, can rise to the kidneys and cause pyelonephritis, severe inflammation that endangers renal function. And when we talk about renal bankruptcy, we are talking about a stage where the body loses the ability to filter the blood and eliminate toxins, generating accumulation of substances that intoxicates the body. And all this can happen while you sleep. It's shocking, I know, but it's real, and more common than it seems. According to the Brazilian Society of Urology itself, advanced cases of benign prostatic hyperplasia, HPB, not treated can evolve into renal failure. This is not ageism. It is not an assumption. It is given clinical. And what starts with a simple, "I got up twice to urinate last night," can evolve into something very serious if you do nothing about it. HPB is not cancer, but it can create a scenario of complications as dangerous as, especially if you do not do the right exams such as PSA, rectal touch, and ultrasound, which help identify the stage of the condition and to trace the best treatment plan. The big problem is that most men still see these tests as a taboo, and this taboo costs expensive. It costs lives, because while prejudice prevents man from taking care, disease advances in silence. While he thinks everything is fine, that it can solve with corn tea or parsley juice, the kidneys are being overloaded, the bladder is being forced beyond the limit, and the body is accumulating dangerous toxins. And sleep, which should be the moment of recovery and rest, becomes a silent battle for survival. There is another point that I need to highlight here: self-medication. It is common to see men taking anti-inflammatory drugs on their own, or medications that the neighbor used and improved. But what many people don't know is that these medications can mask symptoms without treating the cause, and the problem continues to grow, hidden, invisible, until it becomes tragically visible. Not to mention the side effects of some of these substances, which can cause damage to the liver, heart, and especially to the kidneys, which are already overloaded by the untreated HPB. Another point that many ignore is the role of food in this scenario. That habit of having excess coffee, abusing salt, consuming alcoholic beverages often, or not drinking enough water during the day only aggravates the situation. Dehydration makes the urine more concentrated, further irritating the urinary system and facilitating the proliferation of bacteria. And when the man still holds this urine at night, the risk of complications doubles. It is an explosive combo that accumulates day after day. And here I make a warning. Sleep is not the time to ignore the signs, but to respect them. If the body wakes up, it is because it needs your attention. It is not weakness at night to urinate. It's careful. It is prevention. And many times that's what will make you wake up the next day with health. It's like an internal alarm, and every time you turn off this alarm, it's ceasing to act on time. And the account arrives. It may take weeks, months, sometimes years, but it arrives. And when it arrives, it comes heavy. It comes in the form of an hospitalization, a severe infection, a paralyzed kidney, or in the worst cases, the loss of life itself. So if you have been ignoring these signs, giving yourself, avoiding tests, or pretending that everything is fine, it's time to change. It's no use wanting to look strong to others if your body is weakening inside. Taking care of the prostate is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of wisdom, of maturity, of responsibility for your own life and who cares about you. And if you're here, watching this video so far, it's because deep down, you already know that. You feel that something needs to change. I really want this video to help you reflect, act, to commit to your real health. And for that, I want to ask you once again, I identified with something I said so far? Have you ever seen one of these errors that look small but are extremely dangerous? So comment below. Writes like this: I choose to really take care of myself. If you've been through something similar, if you have suffered urinary symptoms or know someone who needs to hear it, share this video. But right here, your experience. I want to know your story. Let's use this space to exchange experiences, support each other, and especially strengthen awareness of the importance of prostate health. And now that you understand the real risks behind habits that seem harmless, it's time to talk about what can really be done to change this scenario. And no, I'm not talking about wild solutions or empty promises. I'm talking about practical, affordable, effective measures that any man can put into practice from today, even if he has never worried about it before. The truth is that avoiding this silent tragedy, which has taken so many lives during sleep, is possible, but it will only happen if there is action. And the first action begins with something simple, straightforward, and that many still ignore. Go to the urologist at least once a year, even without feeling anything. That's right. Prostate health needs constant follow-up, not only when symptoms appear, because when the signs become too clear, it is a sign that the problem is already advanced. The annual consultation with the urologist is the basis of prevention. This is where you talk, ask questions, do the touch, PSA tests, and can have a real notion of the state of your prostate. This kind of attitude, which many avoid by prejudice or shame, is actually an act of intelligence. A man who takes care of his own health and respecting the signs of the body is not weak, is responsible, conscious. And if you are one of those who gets up at night to urinate and think, I'll try to sleep again because I don't want to disturb my rest, I ask you, reconsider this behavior immediately, because this sign is not something to be ignored. If your body is waking up you in the middle of the night, it is because it needs to eliminate toxins. Holding the urine for hours, especially at dawn, compromises the functioning of the bladder, overloads the kidneys, and creates an internal environment conducive to inflammation, infections, and even kidney failure. It is no exaggeration. It is pure physiology. You need to respect this call from your body, even if it means interrupting your sleep. In addition, maintaining tracking with exams is indispensable. PSA, specific prostatic antigen, is a simple blood test, fast and fundamental to detect early changes in the prostate. It serves as a radar that points out if there is something out of the standard. Prostate ultrasound, another essential exam, allows you to more clearly visualize the size of the gland and if it is compressing the urethra or obstructing the urinary flow. These exams are like a detailed map of your inner state, and ignoring them is like driving at high speed with blindfolded eyes. It makes no sense, it is not safe, and can have serious consequences. Another factor that directly influences the health of the prostate and the urinary system as a whole is what you consume, especially at night. And here comes a very common mistake: having diuretic drinks before bed, such as coffee, beer, black tea, or green tea. These beverages increase urine production in the hours of ingestion. This means that instead of allowing your body to rest, you are forcing your kidneys to work double during sleep. In addition, the constant need to urinate at night aggravates the symptoms in those who already have HPB and can trigger urinary retention if the prostate is compressing the urethra too much. So the orientation is clear. Avoid any L-stimulating ichide after 18H. And if you think food has nothing to do with prostate, think again. There are foods that directly help keep this gland in equilibrium, reducing inflammation, improving urinary flow, and preventing the exaggerated increase in its volume. Among them, 3 stand out: tomatoes, broccoli, and pumpkin seed. Tomato is rich in lycopene, an antioxidant substance with strong performance against oxidative stress that affects the prostate. Broccoli has compounds called sulforaphans, which act directly on reducing inflammatory cells. Pumpkin seed contains zinc and phytosterols, fundamental to balance male hormones and protect urinary health. But it's not enough just to eat well. It is necessary to move. Physicalism is a silent enemy of the prostate. When you spend all day sitting, whether at work or at home, the pelvic region suffers from the lack of blood circulation. This favors toxins accumulation, compression of the urethra, and the worsening problems such as HPB. Sedentary men are more likely to suffer from lumbar pain, urinary difficulties, decreased libido, and even erectile dysfunction. The good news is that you don't have to become an athlete. A simple 30-minute walk a day a few times a week is enough to activate the circulatory system, improve prostate oxygenation, and strengthen the pelvic floor muscles. There are even specific exercises that you can do to strengthen this muscles and improve urinary control, such as the famous Kegel exercises. They are discreet, can be done at home, in the car, at work, and help a lot who already feels that the urinary jet is weak or intertwined. In addition, they help in sexual health, power, and trust as a whole. The man who takes care of himself, who knows his own body, and who takes proactive attitudes towards health, is a man who lives more, with more quality, more energy, more autonomy. And maybe you're thinking, but I'm already over 60, is it still time? The answer is simple. Yes, it gives time, yes. There is always time to change. There is always time to start taking better care of yourself. Health is not a fixed destination. It is a process. And the sooner you start, the more result you will reap. It's never too late to start taking care of your prostate, your bladder, your kidneys, and your vital energy. And if you arrived here in this video, it's because deep down you already know you need to take action. It's no use leaving for later nor waiting for the symptoms to get worse. The body can't stand this abandonment for long. He even tries to compensate, tries to handle, tries to adapt. But there comes a time when he stops. And this is when the fright comes. And we don't want that. We want to prevent. We want to change before the pain reaches, before the infection sets in, before the kidney goes in bankruptcy. So if you feel you need to do something different from today, this is the moment. And now, I want to ask you something simple but powerful. If any of these guidelines made sense to you, if any information has really touched you, write here in the comments, I choose to change today. This is a commitment you assume to yourself. And if you want, share your routine, say what you will change, or even count if you have already started taking care of your prostate. This creates a space of exchange, support, incentive. And you can be sure that your comment will inspire other men to take this step too. Here we talk about man to man, with respect, with truth, and with courage. Let's go together on this walk. There is still more to come. If you stayed with me here, it's because this content has made sense to you, and you may even have made you see your health in a different way. And if this video helped you in any way, I want to ask you 3 simple but very important things. First, subscribe to the channel right now. Here we tell the truth about male health, without winding, with direct information that can really save lives. So click the subscribe button and activate the bell so you don't miss any new video. Second, comments down here writes like this: I will take care of my health from today. This phrase is more than a comment. It is your commitment to your body, your life, and those who love you. And when you write this, you inspire other men to take care of each other too. Let's strengthen this chain together. And third, if this video brought you value, leave the like now. This helps YouTube show this content to more people who need this message. And believe me, there are a lot of people needing to hear this today. And before you leave, watch the next video that is appearing here on the screen. He continues exactly where we stopped, and will show you even more ways to protect your health and live more safely, more awareness, and much as vitality. I hope you there.